What's up guys, Barry Gaming here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today we're going to be talking about the Crazed Shellbrute because, well, we've had this boss open on the VN test servers for a few days now at least, and we've been able to see at least some teams that have been at least decent. Now, one thing to remember is the VN servers don't necessarily have quite as powerful heroes as the global servers just yet, so take a lot of these strategies with a grain of salt. Now, this boss is interesting. Let's go over the abilities real quick because you might not have seen them just yet. Dazzling Flash opens the clamshell, emitting a dazzling flash from the pearl inside, dealing damage to all enemies. So big AoE damage right there. Clam Gulp flicks a giant tongue to grab an enemy, then swallows them for 40 seconds. If the enemy is unaffected or steadfast during that time, or during or after the casting of the skill, they will be crushed instead of swallowed and instantly defeated. So you cannot cheese this type of mechanic here. Shell Stampede flicks a giant tongue twice, dealing damage equal to 80% to all enemies in a 3-tile arc. Grand Suction, man, these names, man. Opens its mouth to draw all enemies close when there are no adjacent non-summon enemies, dealing damage 4 times and stunning them, so you definitely need to have someone close. And lastly, Water Barrier, the clam and anemones, and I can never say this word, anemones. Generate a water barrier together, reducing the damage taken by 70%. The barrier will disappear after taking 2 hits of base damage to each exceeding 300% of the caster's attack, and will regenerate in 10 seconds. So it's a really interesting fight here. So we're gonna go over some of the teams that we're talking about here first, and luckily on Pride Win they've actually got a little bit of stuff kind of grouped up and a little bit of information. It's not like what I think the actual meta is going to be. I think this is going to change a little bit, but this is going to give you a good starting point to think about what to do, because tonight is when this opens. So what is the meta team here? Realistically speaking, your meta team will depend on a specific box and your account's focus. So use your highest rarity DPS carry characters along with whoever is the best to boost their damage. So basically what they're saying here is, if you don't have what you see down below, use your best heroes like Lily May, Odie, whoever's going to pack the most punch, and try to put as many good support heroes around them as possible. Try running a dual carry setup, as currently there's no way to boost a hyper carry, aka a single damage dealer, high enough to make it worthwhile. We've seen that in Dream Realm lately too. Running 2 and maybe even 3 damage dealers just seems like the best way to go. So right now, this is the main strategy here, and you'll notice this looks almost identical to what most Dream Realm bosses look like right now, with Freesto, Mikola, Smokey, Odie, and Lily May. The one thing I will say is, with this type of team here, it can be, you can use someone like Thorn, I think, in the front. At least I think you can. I haven't actually tested with Thorn before, but I feel like other investments can be good. And the big thing here is making sure you have the Mauler talent tree up to level 17, where you have the dual tile setup. That's going to be one of the most important things here, up to the point where you unlock the double talent. The best team so far in VN has looked like this. So of course we got the 2 main damage dealers, Lily May, Odie. They are like just S plus and everything. Freesto is in there, is both the sacrifice to be eaten by the boss, but also a damage dealer at higher duplicates. He already works with a single copy to fulfill the sacrifice role, so just remember, even if you only have the 1 copy from the login event, that's all you need to make this team work. Smokey and Mirky, and of course Mikola, very, very self-explanatory artifacts. Arcane Spell, and then Resonance if you have not invested into the newer artifact just yet. There is an alternate team that works with the Wilder setup. It's weird. It's got Aaron, it's got Brian on there. I don't think many people have built Brian, so I don't think the strategy is going to necessarily be doable. However, this one should be doable without too many problems. Although remember, like my account here, I'm not going to have that because I have not been playing it, so my artifacts are going to be extremely weak right now. We haven't been doing much of anything on this, and I do have that single copy of Freesto, so let's see what this actually looks like. The only downside here is we actually need to reset this on our account so I can show you guys exactly what the setup's going to look like. So we don't really care about anything but the Mauler tree right now. So if you guys have invested in other trees, might have like an overpowered light bearer one, it might be time for you guys to kind of reset it and put your points over into here. So let's see if we should be able to get up to 17, because I think we had 20 in Wilder previously, so this team should be fine to work. Let's just get all these points allocated. It is a lot of them. It is a little time consuming because again, we have to go up to 40 points just to unlock this here. So let's actually try to do a little bit more of a minimal pass here. Here, do that one. We would probably get away without doing as many of the big nodes too. But again, we do need to get to 40, so just finishing 4 of these trees out might be the better option, although doing Celestial Hypogen wouldn't be the worst thing either. Like doing some of these nodes might not be bad, and then of course doing some of these that are cheaper, because cheaper is better. These are only costing 90 versus something like this I guess we could invest in. That's 38, 39, and then yeah, we'll just do the last one I guess over here. So that's the 40th point, and this is the important part because now we get to go down to plus 17 in the Mauler faction. So not too bad. We're gonna have to see how this works with our free-to-play account here. Again, we got that tile done. I'm just gonna go ahead and max everything out in the Mauler setup here, and I think we do have both Mikola and Smokey. They're just not super powerful, so let's throw this team in and see what type of damage we can do and let you guys see what this combat actually looks like. So again, we're gonna go with the main setup here with yeah, actually we already almost have the exact same team in. And remember, I'm gonna grab this and throw this down here real quick just so I can remember the exact placement of our heroes, because we're also going to want our Smokey back here. We're gonna want you up here, and again, the single copy of Freesto is enough from the sounds of it. That looks like the setup right here, and again, the better option is of course the one we don't have. Resonating Spell should work, but this is what the battle is going to look like. I don't necessarily like the battle feels like this, where it's like tilted further down. It feels like it's much harder to see what's going on, and as you guys can see, this strategy might not work for anybody out there, for just anybody. Because you see right there, we basically got one tap, but again, you have to remember, I've not kept up with this account. Our team's levels are extremely low, but if we're talking about the actual setup of the heroes, this is what we're looking at here. You can see our levels are like 200 to 300 levels under leveled, which is why we're getting one shot. You see the level here is 681. We're only 531, and that is a huge deficit. That's like a 10 times deficit at this point. So that's the downside of not playing our free-to-play accounts as much as we should, because then we come across this, we can't do it. But as far as best setups go, this should be it right here. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys come up with a different team, let me know. I will be staying tuned tonight to see if anything new pops up, a new best team, and if there is, I'll share it with you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.